Hi, welcome to Pleasure Sports. Today we're going to take a look at the new fall 2011 chest zip entry Billabong Foil wetsuit for men. This is a chest zip entry wetsuit. You enter through this zipper in the front chest. And what actually is the benefit of a chest zip entry wetsuit is that you eliminate the zipper along the lumbar spine. And when you get rid of a zipper in the back of a wetsuit, you actually increase flexibility along the spine. Getting in and out of a chest zip wetsuit is a little bit different than a standard back zip wetsuit. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. So you take your wetsuit off the hanger and you actually grab the armpits with each hand and you just turn the wetsuit inside out like that. And now we literally have the top of the wetsuit wide open so that you can put your legs right into the belly of the wetsuit. And then once you pull this up on your chest, you can put one arm in at a time and then bring the last piece, which is the back flap, over your head, and then you're in the wetsuit. So that's how you get into a chest zip entry wetsuit. This Billabong Foil actually comes in two thicknesses. It comes in this 4.3 millimeter version, so it's 4 millimeter neoprene in the chest. And it's actually 3 millimeter neoprene in the areas that you need most stretch, like under the arms. And it also comes in a 3.2 millimeter version, and this is the 3.2 turned inside out. They're identically the same in construction, it's just one's got 2 millimeter arms and a 3 millimeter core, and that's the 3.2. So the 3.2 has 3 millimeter with 2 millimeter arms, and the 4.3, 4 millimeter in the core, and 3 millimeter in the arms. Another thing I want to show you while we're here and the chest zip entry's open, you have a nice little place to stash your key, and you actually just zip across the chest here. Another thing I love about the feature here, there's a little tiny pinhole. If water is to come in through the side, which will be minimal because you can actually adjust the side here with the cinch and it locks. And if any comes through the collar, you have a little pinhole here so it doesn't pool, it'll actually drain out of the wetsuit, which is a great little feature. Let's take a look at some of the other key features of this wetsuit. You've got 0 seams along the underarm gussets. That actually maximizes your reach and your stretch, so you can actually take advantage of these stretchy materials. The less seams in a wetsuit, the more stretchy it is. Billabong does a great job with this wetsuit, placing strategic panels so it maximizes your comfort and anatomically cut design, so it actually fits your body naturally. You've got actually pre-bent knees in this wetsuit and pre-bent arms. So when you have a pre-bent wetsuit, it fits more naturally and it actually doesn't allow water to pool in the wetsuit. And when water pools in a wetsuit, it actually makes you cold because your body can't keep just a thin layer of water warm. It's actually trying to keep those larger pools of water warm, and that's more difficult for the body to do. While I'm down here at the knee pad, you have an abrasion-resistant knee pad, and that helps protect the nylon on the outside of your wetsuit, so it keeps it nice and durable. We'll flip the wetsuit over. You'll notice 2 little pinholes here at the top. One of the things that happens when you go through water, whatever sport you're doing, and it comes through the collar, water might pool inside, and you've got 2 nice little drain holes here. On the back, you've got a mesh skin panel. This is a water wicking material. Water hits it, it just drips off. And it's actually along your back organs and your core to keep you nice and toasty. You'll also see that on the front. And again, the 3.2 and the 4.3 millimeter are identical. The neck region of this wetsuit is really wonderful. You'll see Billabong's new contour collar. So it's actually cut a little bit differently than standard collars, and that's actually to help keep this collar from generating a rash on your neck and having too much material bunch up, and so you don't feel like you're choking. And on the interior of this contour cut, you've got a nice glide skin material. That's a water wicking material. This actually creates a seal between the glide skin and your skin so that it helps keep this seal tight and water out of the wetsuit. So we don't want too much water flowing through the wetsuit because that will require your body to do too much work. Another great thing about this new fall 2011 wetsuit is the Superflex Performance neoprene that's actually used. It's called ZG400 Neoprene. It's a fancy name for a really high-end, high-quality, super stretch neoprene that the suit's actually made of. And the other thing that it has is Superflex Performance paneling. So that Superflex neoprene is really put in key places, in the wetsuit, and we'll actually see that when we take a look at the interior of the wetsuit. So let's go ahead and move to the internal parts of this wetsuit. Again, the 4.3 and the 3.2 are identical in construction. So this is the wetsuit flipped inside out. This is considered an entry-level wetsuit. It's one of the top in its entry-level class because of the materials it uses, and actually because of the extra reinforcements you get at a wetsuit at this price point. So some of those reinforcements are spot taping on critical seams to help the wetsuit last, because you got to come in and out of this and you're pulling it all the time. You really want this to be spot taped. You've got a weld along this front chest seam. So not only is the suit a sealed seam wetsuit, it's first been glued together and then blind stitched. It's also got an extra reinforcement of this weld, and that actually keeps water out and keeps the wetsuit more durable. On the interior, we've got a furnace lining, and this is a heat retentive material used on the front and the back of the wetsuit, this red that you're seeing throughout the suit. And this part here, which is a little bit more velvety than this red, this is a water wicking material. Water comes through the wetsuit and it wicks it off quicker, again trying to keep the core nice and toasty and protecting your organs. On the inside of the suit, where you see red material, is that ZG400 strategic placement. And you'll see it all along the back, behind the legs where you need it. A fascinating feature is, again, the welding that's done on the internal portion of the suit. So again, still glued and blind stitched, but also the welding is done to make sure that in the knee area where you're doing a lot of bending and popping up and moving, that you have extra reinforcement. And that is not something that you often see in entry-level wetsuits, and that's one of the reasons this one is so special and it's set apart in its class. So we've pretty much looked at all the key features of this particular wetsuit. I may have missed some, and we have all the details on our website, and you can check those out at pleasuresports.com.